please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Vanna. Welcome, everyone. This is to advise those present at this meeting of the Board of Education at Pinelands Regional School District and the County of Ocean that adequate notice of this meeting was provided in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act. The notice has been posted in the Board of Education office, junior high and high school buildings. The notice was also mailed to the press of Atlantic City, Asbury Park Press, and filed with municipal clerks of Bass River, Eagleswood, Little Lake Harbor Township, and the Borough of Tuckerton. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bartlett.
Here.
Ms. Betty.
Here.
Mr. Bonnicky.
Here.
Mr. Delia.
Here.
Mrs. Fagan. She'll be absent. Ms. Martin. Here. Ms. Zimmerman. Here. Ms. Hannadel. Here. Mrs. McVeigh.
Here.
Right, we're in session.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 5, approval of the minutes. We need a motion to approve the following minutes. Open session on June 5th, closed session on June 5th, and June 29th. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Second. Any questions? Seeing none. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bartlett.
I was here, right?
He was
Were you here on the 29th?
I don't think you were here on the 29th. I think you were here on the 5th.
I think I was here on the 5th, and I'll have to abstain on the 29th.
Yeah, that's it.
Ms. Betty.
Yeah. Yes.
Mr. Bonnicky.
Yes, on June 5 and abstain on June 29.
Noted. Mr. Delia.
Yes, you missed one.
Ms. Martin.
Yes, for June 5th, and
You were not here on June 5th.
oh, so yes, for June 29th, and I'm abstaining. I had it reversed.
So you were here on June 29th?
Yeah, I think so. Oh, no.
It wasn't, it was a Zoom.
Yeah, she was.
You on a Zoom?
She was. I believe I was, but I wasn't at home.
Okay. You were.
But
You were on the 29th.
Okay.
Right, my foot was the issue early in June. Yes,
Yes.
early in June, because I broke it like the 1st or 2nd, so yes. I
Zimmer.
was-
I'm gonna go with yes. You were not here on the 5th.
You were here on the 5th.
So were you here on the 29th?
Were you on?
Yes, you were on the
Yes, she was
29th.
on the
Yes.
Zoom.
You were on the Zoom.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
I was on the
abstained
Zoom. Yes,
on
yes.
29th.
I abstained.
So
I would like to choose door number 2.
It's a little complicated this time. Ms. Hannadel.
Yes, I think I was here for all of it.
Yes.
Ms. McVeigh.
Let me see.
Object.
Yes.
Were you at the-
No, you were at the 29th. You couldn't be.
Yes.
Oh, correct. Correct.
So your
It was not-
abstention is
correct.
also noted.
Was
That's
anyone
right.
here at any one time?
I was here.
We're gonna start
don't
this
get a
meeting
vote.
with the Pledge of Allegiance. Are we all rise?
Can move the flag.
Move it again. Behind the screen this time. Does motion pass? Yes.
Sounds like we should just pass the motion.
29, well, Fagan wasn't here and for stage.
Well, if you had it,
29, I was here. We
If
didn't
you
have
had-
Shannon was here on the 29th.
She wasn't here on the 5th. If you had a quorum for the 29th, which you would have had.
We did. It was.
We did. Everybody's here that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're missing, we're missing.
The only one that wasn't on the 29th was Jeff, and he re-abstained.
Okay.
All right,
So
Who was
your
here on
motion
the
carries.
29th?
It carries.
Who was here on the
Everyone
29th?
but you and Jeff.
So there's 5 people. They all voted yes, it has to pass.
Yes.
Okay, got it. All right, motion carries. Sorry.
Thank
Moving on to the report of the superintendent, something much easier. I give you Dr. McCoy.
Thank you. Oh, so first and foremost, you'll see on the calendar this evening, there's a revision. Last year, we used our snow day time and built it around Memorial Day. So if it didn't snow, we had a long Memorial Day weekend. We cannot do that this school year because the time frame to retake missed exams for the AP exam is at that time around Memorial Day. So we would miss that opportunity to take the retake exams if the students were absent.
We got a lot
So-
of complaints about that one. Anyway.
We don't get a chance to see when AP dictates their schedule, so we are gonna leave Memorial Day as we are here in school. And if it snows, we're going to tack them on to the end of the school year. Now, we couldn't do that in years past because it does move graduation and it moves project graduation. We're moving the venue this year to project graduation to somewhere more flexible. So we can change graduation.
Change the date?
Yes, and we can change project graduation. So
So in other words, we're not baking snow days into the calendar. and if
Correct.
it snows, then they're gonna get added to the end.
correct.
Which
Yes.
works
No,
better
no
here.
days baked in.
Correct. So if it snows, they get added on. So that's the revision calendar on the agenda for this evening. Okay, I just wanted to once again say thank you to the board for your support in allowing me to attend the National Superintendent Conference in Florida. It was a Sunday to Tuesday. It was amazing. I got to meet and talk to superintendents from all over the country, including special ed directors as well. And it was just nice to hear what we're doing so well and some of the challenges that are faced across the nation by everyone. So they're very similar to things that we're facing here. So it was just a great opportunity. Meeting the vendors was very beneficial because I brought some ideas back that we can use here and some things that we can purchase if Amanda allows. So we haven't talked about that yet. We haven't had time, but it really was a great opportunity. And it was nice to showcase Pinelands too. So I enjoyed it very much and thank you for your support on that. AP update, Karen, Kenny, Gina Fresca and I worked on revising some of the AP contract. I had a parent come meet with me. She had some really great points to make about the cost of AP exams to parents and also accruing the cost of dual enrollment classes. If you remember when we introduced dual enrollment, we paid for it when it first started, but now a parent does have to pay a portion of that. It's still very low, but if a child's taking 3 or 4 classes, it adds up. And then now we're running into the situation where some of these families have 4 to 5 kids between 7th through 12th grade, and it's a lot to put out. So because they're accruing the cost of the dual enrollment, she really had a great point. So we reflected on that. We sat together, we looked at our budget, and we're able to cover the cost of the AP exam for all of our students. So we changed the contract, we sent that back out, and we will be paying the price for the AP contracts for our students.
That's phenomenal.
So just to kind of keep the board on track with that, if anyone does ask you, we are going to be doing that.
That is phenomenal, but I do want to point out that the dual enrollment cost is a lot cheaper than buying in college.
Oh,
I
absolutely,
mean,
absolutely,
seriously,
yes.
a tenth of the
It's
price.
saving them hundreds
they
of
should
thousands
just-
of dollars,
yeah.
and they're very appreciative, but I can see that financial burden to put those costs out initially for everyone. So if we
It's
can take
all
some of the load
together,
off
right.
of
Oh,
them.
I'm all for paying for the
Yeah.
AP, don't get me wrong.
Good, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, good.
That's good.
All right, so just an update on that. And then we have our data review day, August 9th at 3:00. We're not calling it a retreat because it's not going to be that formal, but we are going to be, as an administrative team, looking at an array of data from the past school year and moving forward our goals for the upcoming year. And I want the board to be a part of that. If you can make it on that day, it's August 9th at 3:00. Amanda already advertised as if it were a board meeting. So if we do have a quorum, we're covered in that aspect. So we will have some snacks and things like that, but looking forward to looking at all that. So you have the complete picture of what's happening in the district.
And that'll be here,
Yes,
August 9th at 3:00.
yes.
Okay.
And then lastly, you'll see on the agenda this evening, we do have some a little costly added district placements. And you know that special ed needs, the students have, unique needs. And in some cases, if we can't meet their needs here, we have to send them to another place to have their needs met. But Marissa Elwood is amazing and she's working on enhancing our programs here, working with the parents, working with the child study team to bring some of those students back and try to meet their needs here. So I'll give an update to the board as those changes take place.
Can I ask about Florida?
Sure.
So was it every state that was there? Did you meet like West California? Did you meet, I know what Minnesota was, a lot of times they go to the national stuff, all the.
I was able to see the schedule of who were speakers and where they were from, but other than that, I only met people by being in like a group or round table, going to a workshop, but it seemed like it was pretty well represented from all states.
And you had a speech?
I led a roundtable on women in the superintendency and some of the challenges. And then I was part of one of 3 as the closing panel. And we spoke about COVID and the challenges and moving forward.
Yeah.
So it was great. It was a
That's
great
great.
time.
Thanks.
And that's all I have.
Okay. Moving on to item number 7, the presentation on the NJGPA results. I give you Karen Kenny.
Hi, everyone. We're going to get started. So in March this past year, all juniors were required to take the NJGPA, New Jersey Graduation Proficiency Assessment. It's the first time that this test is counting as a requirement to graduate high school. So there's been a lot of information regarding it, and it's been an interesting year, so to speak, about it. So they made the decision that we used to have the HSPA, the HSPT, we used to have PARC, and now they've made it the NJGPA, and they say you have to pass it during your junior year. It's for grade 11, and you must sit for the exam. And then there's also the other tests that you can take in the event that you're struggling and you're not able to pass this assessment. And there's also a portfolio process. Those two items have not changed. The one thing that we learned, though, it was not until May 3rd that we received the cut scores for the NJGPA. So the students took the test in March, and then we received the results at the very end of June. So they said once, so the second little note there is that, so they take the test. And if they do not pass the assessment, we're able to retake it in the summer. So we have students coming in this week. We also have another fall assessment in October. And then we're also having them sit for the PSATs. We have created a special math course for them to work on this assessment. And the students that did not pass the English will be cohorted together to work on this English assessment as well. And then finally, if they're unable to pass any of the competency tests, I'm not sure what happened there, they will then complete a portfolio appeal. Now, I've been the district test coordinator for many, and I can assure you that we will provide the multitude of supports and that students will be successful by the end, and they will complete the portfolio if unable to pass the assessment. So in all of my years, it always works out because we do everything that we possibly can to support them. And we have a lot of great intervention people in place to do this. So I wanted to jump to our scores. So if you can look in English, we had a 71% passing rate and the graduation average was 80.5. And in math, we had a 33.1% and the graduation state is a 55% of the state pass. And when you look at those scores, what we do not have yet that we can share with you, probably at the next board meeting, will be our district factor group, but they have not presented that material yet. So we're being compared to every single school in New Jersey, and I can't show you what is our result compared to schools similar to our area and our makeup of our students. But as you can see, that the average for the entire state is a 55% of the students passed. So a lot of students are retaking this test. We had to do subgroup charts for you so that you would understand the total. So you can look at different, this document is also embedded in your board agenda as well online. So if you wanted to look at it further. So we broke the subgroups down of graduation ready for English. If the number is under 10, you don't present that information to just protect identity of people. And then we have not graduate ready subgroup. And again, you do expect the results with some of our students that are reading below grade level, that they would have an IEP and they would be classified because they'd be in special reading groups. So you would see that. For mathematics, you have the total. You can see the difference between different groups of graduation ready. Let's take a look at that for a second. And then we have our graduation not ready. Again, the expectation you would see for some of our different areas. Yes. Sure.
Is the test, if you have an IEP, different, or do they get longer time to take it?
They get extended time. They do have accommodations, but it's the exact same test. So if someone could be on a 4th grade reading level, taking the same test as someone that is a junior in an AP course. Yes.
And they have the same rules for passing.
They have the same rules of the score, like this is what you get to pass, but in their IEP, they are able to exempt them from meeting that requirement to pass the test.
Okay, good.
But I do have to report on what happened with the IEP students as a result. but their IEP can exempt them, and maybe they're not participating in retaking the test because their IEP dictates that they sat for it and that's it. And then we talk about what are our intervention strategies. We set up online modules through, see a little typo there, sorry about that, on the Outlook platform. And students are retaking the NJGPA this week. We will, as I mentioned, we're cohorting them in English and math in the fall, and we've made significant mathematics curriculum revisions this summer to include test preparation for all juniors. We continue to have extended day learning for all of our students. And as I mentioned previously, we will have additional opportunities to meet the graduation pathway via the fall NJGPA, the PSATs, and complete a portfolio. There used to be an ASVAB as an option, but at the board meeting in May, I believe, the New Jersey Department of Ed removed ASVAB as a test to pass for graduation. And there was a lot of people that filled out, a lot of people signed a petition to bring ASVAB back. So we're waiting to hear if they will add that on, because we do offer the ASVAB usually twice a year, and our students are very successful in the ASVAB. So does anyone have any questions?
How did you feel personally compared to PARC or one of the other ones over the years? I mean, is it that much different a test?
I think what's challenging is it's not based on the math course you're in. It's a combination of Algebra 1 and geometry. So if you're a junior and you're in Algebra 2, it might have materials that you might be in geometry. Like, it's not based on the actual course that you're enrolled in. So that could be different.
How about
English is based on the 10th grade standards.
Okay.
So, but I'll go back to that one page where you can see statewide, 80% were graduation ready. We were at 70%. The math across the board for the state is a problem. And if you talk to anyone regarding any of the test results, we all refer back to COVID, unfortunately, because in mathematics, a lot of times the students were maybe using tools that they're not allowed to use during the math assessment. There's a whole portion of the NJGPA that you're not allowed to use a calculator. So if you're unable to do the skills, you will not have access to a calculator for a whole portion of that. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. We've seen it across the board, and that's why the whole state is suffering in the math scores. So we absolutely see that. The numbers don't lie on that for sure. All right. Well, yes.
With, I definitely appreciate all the intervention strategies. The bridge program.
Yes.
Is there any way that, maybe not for both English language arts and math, but would it be possible for math, where we definitely need as many strategies as possible to help them? Could that somehow be added to the bridge program?
So as like an NJGPA prep, that's actually, it's a great recommendation. I know that Ms. Frasca has been working really hard with the math department this summer in preparing a whole program to reinforce the Algebra 1 and geometry skills throughout all of the mathematics courses and doing it as a daily instruction. So I'm sure that she is investigating all those avenues and definitely building like the excitement to prepare for that NJGPA. It was challenging for the students. They came back to school in September and they all had to take a test called Start Strong. They had to take it in English and math, and it was like multiple days. And then they took their PSATs as a junior. Then winter came, March, they had to take the NJGPA. Then after that, they took 2 weeks and had AP testing. And then they had to take a science test if you were a junior. So for students, you're really focused on your AP exam and you're looking at some of these other tests, like what's happening here. So, I mean, they were over tested, but that was mandated by the State Department. It certainly wasn't our choice.
And you got these results back in June, and you had to bring students in for the summer.
Yeah, so they're coming in this Wednesday and Thursday to take some assessments. Yes.
Put it out to the parents.
Yeah, so we met with the students as soon as we got the results. The guidance counselors met with them individually to discuss it and say this is what the plan was. And this week is the actual date that the state said this is when you have to test them. But they didn't send our formal sheets, our score reports, until June 29th. but we had a preliminary data that we were able to look at to start planning. They're very fun. It's been fun.
Excuse me, they're coming in to take the test again.
Yes.
July 26th and 27th
Yes.
without any type of.
They have
remedial-
had remediation. They were invited to Albert. It's an online platform that has learning modules for them.
Good.
And we did say we are offering it again in the fall. So if a student didn't, I had a student say they were uncomfortable with some of the online modules, they can not take it. They can wait, take their class in September and October and prep again for it. Because if they don't pass it this time, they have to sit again in October. So as I mentioned, this is the first time the NJGPA is a requirement for all of them. So some changes with the government.
Wasn't there an ACT?
They can take their SAT and their ACT.
They can
But-
still do that and pass, or they still?
Yeah, they can still do that.
Okay.
But what's happened is a lot of schools have been test optional. So a lot of students are not taking the ACT and many are not even taking the SAT if the school's test optional. But your PSAT score also counts for this. So anyone that passed their PSATs and met the competency score, they were removed from the list. They didn't have to sit again. Yes, but you have to pass something on each subject. So you could pass the NJGPA in English and the PSAT in math.
That's good.
Oh, that's.
All right. Well, if you have any more questions, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, moving on to work session, board forum. Do any of my fellow board members have something they would like to discuss at this point? Seeing none, new business, bog update. Amanda, is that you?
All right, so during the spring, we hired a company called Princeton Hydro to serve as our project manager for the decommissioning of the Pinelands Dam. After completing the required surveys analysis, they did not believe our current structure meets the definition of a dam.
We can't hear you.
I'm gonna start again. Okay. Gotcha. So our current dam does not meet the standard or the definition of a dam because it does not have rising.
So, sorry, what about say that again?
Okay, let me just restart. After completing the required surveys analysis, they do not believe our current structure meets the definition of a dam, as it is not raising the water level. At the end of June, they composed a letter to the DEP with the information, and we are awaiting the response from the DEP. Additionally, our work continues with Rutgers University on the beautification project for our 3 bogs. We will be seeking grant funding for that beautification project, and we will share more information when it's available.
It's interesting.
So the dam is not a dam.
No longer own a
Dam
damn
is
thing.
not-
We can't call it a damn dam anymore.
Right, so soon we'll be not happy.
So it was always a spillway, basically. Is that what they're saying? That's
Not-
really what it
Kim-
is.
Miss Dr. Clark can speak more.
Is it more of a spillway? Is that
No,
really what they
With
said?
the- If we put boards in it, they would meet the definition of a dam. But because the boards were removed,
All of them?
just the ones that were blocking the water. Because those boards were removed, there's like, all there is are 2 posts.
Yeah.
In the
It's not a
water.
dam.
And so those 2 posts in the water, without anything stopping the water, they
I
don't
always said it
still
was a
meet the
spillway.
definition of a dam. And the letter states as much. It says that there is like something there, but it doesn't have, it's not affecting the water level at all. And so they're saying that we really don't have to do anything.
So why was the water higher before?
Those are
Because
reports.
there were boards there. With those boards there, it meets the definition of a dam,
Literally just those boards there. So it was always.
because it was raising the water level.
Who took the
But when
boards
we were
away?
kids, they didn't have the boards there and it was still higher. So I don't know. I don't know. It's happy news.
All right.
That's good news. I'll take it.
We took the boards away.
We took the boards
Yes,
away.
we
Well,
were
not
instructed
really.
by the DEP to take the boards away.
We were told to take the boards away.
Yeah.
That's more correct.
Mhm.
Well, the price tag for decommissioning the dam was hefty. If we do not have to decommission the dam,
Exactly.
that's really good news.
It's very good.
Yes.
And then we
Not a
can
dam.
move forward with the vision for the Bob. Because
Yay!
all the legal DEP requirements will be taken care of if we don't have a dam. So we just move.
So
forward.
did they give us a height that we have, where we have to worry about whether it's a dam or not?
Well, if there's no boards, there's no dam.
There's boards there.
Who's on
There's
second?
not boards, not unless someone put them back. But there are no boards.
It's, that's all right. I don't care. I'm happy.
Is that it for the bog update?
That is it.
Thank you very much.
It's kind of like June 5th, June 29th.
It's gonna be one of those.
Old business. Does anyone have anything they would like to address in old business? Seeing none, residents forum. Board policy 0167 encourages community participation in every meeting. However, the board requests that the public respect a reasonable time limit when commenting on agenda items only. Would anyone from the audience like to address the board on an agenda item? Seeing no one, we will move on to item number 10, instructional. Recommended motion to approve items A through J. Motion, please.
Motion.
Second. Any questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Bartlett,
Yes.
Miss Betty,
Yes.
Mr. Bonnicky,
Yes.
Mr. Dalio.
Yes.
Miss Martin.
Yes.
Ms. Zimmerman,
Yes.
Ms. Hannah,
Yes.
Mrs. McVeigh,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right, moving on to item number 11, personnel. We need to add an item. The item number will be HH, and that item is the settlement agreement. Resolved that the Board of Education approve the settlement agreement between the Pinelands Regional School District Board of Education and former employee number 5090 as discussed in executive session. That will be item HH. So we need a motion to approve items A through HH.
Motion.
Thank you. Then we have a second.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Bartlett,
Yes.
Miss Betty,
Yes.
Mr. Bonnicky,
Yes.
Mr. Dalio,
Yes.
Miss Martin,
Yes.
Ms. Zimmerman,
Yes.
Ms. Hannah,
Yes.
Mrs. McVeigh,
Yes.
motion carries.
All right, item number 12, operations. We need a motion to approve items A through F.
Motion.
Second.
Any questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Bartlett,
Yes.
Miss Betty,
Yes.
Mr. Bonnicky,
Yes.
Mr. Dalio,
Yes.
Miss Martin,
Yes.
Ms. Zimmerman,
Yes.
Ms. Hannah,
Yes.
Mrs. McVeigh,
Yes.
motion carried.
Item
ask you a
13,
question?
report of the board secretary.
Can I ask a question? How are we doing on bus drivers?
We
Bus
met with
drivers?
Nick and he said we're actually good. They just hired a few more too. He thinks we'll be fine.
Okay, thanks.
All right, item number 13, report of the board secretary, business administrator. I need a motion, please, to approve items A through P.
Motion.
Second.
Any questions?
Who was the second?
Great.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Bartlett,
Yes.
Miss Betty,
Yes.
Mr. Bonnicky,
Yes.
Mr. Dalio,
Yes.
Miss Martin.
Yes.
Ms. Zimmerman,
Yes.
Ms. Hannah,
Yes.
Mrs. McVeigh,
Yes,
motion carried.
thank you. We have no informational items at this time, so we will move on to item number 15, residents forum. Board policy 0167 encourages community participation in every meeting. However, the board requests that the public respect a reasonable time limit when commenting on any topic. Anyone from the audience wish to address the board? Mr. Miller, how are you doing this gorgeous July day?
Folks, Rick Miller up from the Sandpaper. It's been a long time since I've seen some of you because Monday night, we go to the press at the Sandpaper on Tuesday. So instead of stories, and I could catch up on the video. So it's nice to see a lot of you. Well, all of you. I have to say, especially Patty Martin, because she was a wonderful employee for my church for so long. Patty, God, did we miss you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it.
So I had like 3 questions I was going to ask, and one of them was answered. It's going to be a lead story from my reporting. The damn issue seems to be over. It was so ridiculous. People didn't even realize it. So I have some questions, though, about the tests. If I recall, in a previous date, I think it was last year, right? Do you think that there's going to think that could happen again? Okay. And when the sports last time, and I reported on it, I got a lot of emails from people saying, like letting these kids graduate, they can't meet the standard requirements. And I told them, I said, you can't back up schools forever. They don't have enough room, plus, of course, kids, if they don't graduate, they're just going to quit. Thought that they had, all righty. You got that on record now. And the other question I had is about the administrative building. What's going on with that?
So, Mrs. McVeigh, would you like me to?
Yes,
update him?
please.
Sure, of course, and feel free to jump in. Basically, everything has been approved. The funding's approved by the board. We've signed the contracts. So the next thing would be, it would be demolished. And then we have a prefab building that is set to last at least 25 years coming in to replace what's there.
Great. That's all I have. And many were answered in advance, especially that damn.
All righty, moving on to item number 16, board forum. I gave you Patty Martin.
Thank you very much for the NJBPA presentation. And again, I appreciate all the intervention strategies. I really, as a board, really would like us to stay on top of this and follow it. Coupling this as a junior, taking it as a junior in high school, currently with the mental health of students throughout the country. I commend you for staying on top of it and doing everything we possibly can to help them increase their scores and pass. So thank you. Happy to see the disc golf program. I had to actually look to see what disc golf was.
Big.
Right. And graduation, it was wonderful, the ceremony. And then sadly, I did receive some information yesterday. Mr. Williams, former board member of Pinelands, representing Bass River Township, passed away. I was very, very sad to hear that. I'm here on the board just because of the 20+ years that Mr. Williams was Bass River's representative. I mean, we always had him. He was always there for us. And it was when he became ill and we needed somebody to fill in. Everybody's like, you should do it. And, I did it because of him. And I would like to extend my condolences to his family and also all the residents of Bass River that, depended on him for so long. He really did us a great service and sad to hear of his passing.
That's it. Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Bonnicky?
I have nothing to add at this time.
Ms. Zimmerman?
I don't either, thank you.
Okay. Sir?
Good to see everybody. Also condolences to the Williams family. Prayers for the family at this time.
Debbie?
As always, I simply want to reiterate what Ms. Martin said. You guys are doing a fabulous job with the NJGPA, with the testing, with getting the kids what they need. Well done. Thank you.
Mr. Gallia?
Yeah, and I hope everyone's having a wonderful and enjoying their summer. I know I am. But I have nothing really to add after that. Thank you.
Ms. Hannah?
Yes, condolences to the Williams family, but I really want to say, thanks to Darlene and Marielle as well personally, and, I think that's it tonight, but thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to thank my fellow board members for their demeanor and their pleasant personalities, even through these struggles of trying to figure out who was here on June 5th. But it is a pleasure to sit here with all of you and help guide the district. I appreciate your time and certainly your demeanor. I'd like to, this is our first official meeting, having Dr. McCulley as our full-time superintendent. And I want to welcome you aboard. And I'll say for myself, but I'm sure the rest of the board feels the same way. We're so excited about what's to come. Thank you for being here tonight. And let's go. Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Whoever you want to pick.
Miss Betty made a motion, who else made a motion?
Second.
I thought it was Shannon and.
Sure. Do Shannon.
All
Then
in
I'll make sure I
favor?
was here.
No, we go. Opposed? All right. Have a good rest of your
Good night,
summer.
everyone.
See you in
Thank
August.
you.